Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, friends and folk, welcome to the Kaiju Lounge. I'm your boss, Monster Noah Waterman. This is your home for humor, opinions, and nerd shit. We are deep in the fall, folks. Deep in the fall. It is a lovely time of year. It's lovely in New York. It's just cold enough to make you cozy, but not so cold that you're freezing. Kind of the perfect sort of sweater weather. We're getting to that right now. And speaking of perfect, we got a damn near perfect show lined up tonight, guys. If you're a fan of Trombone Champ, and it's hard not to be, right? Like it's if you've gotten your hands in this thing, whatever platform you play on, it is hard not to be. But if you have any interest in that, you are going to tune into this show, because we have one of the co-owners of Holy Wow, one of the brains, the brilliant minds behind this, quite frankly, insane, and I mean that in the best possible way, game, Trombone Champ. We have Jackie Vecchitto here joining us later tonight. Gonna sit down with her. I'm gonna pick her brain all about how the heck this thing came together, beginnings to the middle to where we're going forward. There is no end for this thing. It is not beginning, middle, end. It is beginning, middle, forward. Over yonder, moving hot. And then, of course, for the game of the night, we're going to be playing a little bit of it ourselves. So, yeah, I'm going to be jumping in. I can't just talk about it and not play it. What am I, a heathen? Come on now. Of course, other big stuff. You know, we are now in the wake of the Microsoft Bethesda. I'm sorry, Microsoft Bethesda. We've been in the wake of that. We're now in the wake of the Microsoft Blizzard Activision King situation. That has now been put behind us. We're taking a good look, doing a top 5 of games, franchises that we would like to see revived in this new order. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of good stuff for tonight's show. But of course, we can't begin without the beginning, guys. It is time for the last week in gaming. Head of publishing at Bethesda, Pete Hines, announced his retirement from the studio this past week. In a very cute callback to the Starfield release, the company issued a doctor's note prescribing him devoting care and affection to foster pups, card collecting, having fun with friends in the community, and of course, more games. That's honestly, it's sweet. It's incredibly sweet. It'd be a whole lot sweeter until you remember the countless of people we've lost to a Skyrim overdose in the past years. As a matter of fact, folks, every year, another Skyrim remaster takes time and money away from our loved ones. Please, consult a real doctor before taking Skyrim, as playing longer than 86 hours could lead to fatigue, muscle atrophy, and even death. Remember, you may take an arrow to the knee, but you put an arrow in your family's heart. A Blizzard video hyping the new Diablo game has been pulled due to being littered with mistakes. We're talking incorrect map labels, math calculation mistakes, before and after shots that are the same shot. Like, Blizzard literally tried to vanilla ice us.
Like it goes ding 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 diggy ding ding, ding 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 diggy ding ding, ding ding ding. That's the way theirs goes. Ours goes ding 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 diggy ding ding, ding 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 diggy ding ding.
Just days before Super Mario Wonder released on the Switch, pirated copies showed up online. Interestingly enough, modders got their hands on it, and it turns out it is very easy to change text and voice file. Now, I gotta say, canonically, Mario is in fact from New York, where almost every day on the subway I do hear somebody say that Goomba looks so fucking serene. So it's not fully out of line. Gaming giant Minecraft announced that the 15-year-old game has sold 300 million copies, cementing it as one of the best-selling games of all time. Guys, that is 15 years of getting kids to play with blocks, the same job as a preschool teacher with significantly more money. Voice-over superstar and Dungeon Magazine's sexiest man alive, Matt Mercer, will be playing Vincent Valentine in the upcoming Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This comes hot after playing Ganondorf in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and truthfully, the man's worked so hard, he absolutely deserves it. Like, I can hear his voice as Vincent in my head now.
You said you need black powder! Yes, coming!
Riot revealed their next musical project for League of Legends, which will be the boy band Heartsteel. And much like any boy band, they hit all the proper archetypes. The heartthrob, the evil one, the avenging spirit, the cat boy, and the ninja. Because let's face it, Chris Kirkpatrick would absolutely be the ninja. Look at that hair. Epic Games posted a tweet about what challenges developers would tackle in their MetaHuman engine. Of various replies, project director and executive producer at BioWare, Michael Gamble, posted this. And motherfucker, how dare you? How dare you tease me like that and not let me finish? What's going on with this game? The last new taste you left me with was Andromeda. Andromeda. And the mouthwash that is the Legendary Edition that lingers but does not erase the taste in my mouth that you left behind 6 years ago. We've had an entire ass pandemic since you've even mentioned a new Mass Effect game. And I'm left holding my controller in my hand like some sort of idiot. And my beloved Caden needs me, and yes, I saved Caden. You monsters were all willing to let him die for Ashley, but I was there. I was there, damn it. Analog, the people behind the Analog Pocket, have teased a Nintendo 64 model called the Analog 3D, a complete reimagining of the N64. It promises 4K resolution and 100% compatibility with N64 games across all regions. Now, this is all well and good, but call me when they strap a Pokemon print station to the back of it. Granted, let's say I actually am legitimately excited about this because I now get to see one of my favorite, probably the greatest gaming sequence of all time in 4K. I'm willing to admit that entire video is probably 45 seconds too long for this format. I'm also willing to admit I truly don't care. Everyone needs to see that thing exists in the universe today. Where am I here? Yes, popular Call of Duty streamer Censor apologized for a homophobic slur against a teammate live on stream after getting heated. The most newsworthy report about this story: a Call of Duty player apologized for using a slur. Now, I'll say there's a bit of an irony of this man's handle being Censor. It's not lost on me. That's like me using the handle low-key. Developer TechDirt created a new game that puts you in the role of running a social media site. The goal is to keep the fake social media site Yapper free from bigots, spam, harassment, and misinformation. From what I've read, most people have found the game fairly difficult, except for one who just said if you don't try, it still counts as winning. Luxury streetwear company Arc8 will be collaborating with From Software on some clothing items inspired by their hit game Elden Ring. Now, honestly, this is actually a very interesting story here when I looked into it. So, when Arc8 approached From Software about this collaboration, it was the third blood moon of winter. The Graysoning had already swept through the city, driving the people mad with Gold Tongue. 5 lords rose up to claim the adamantine throne. Garum, the headless wanderer. Tenaria, the unwoven. Anus, the bear in the back end. The skyborn scourge, Madakaomix. And Frank. They would declare war across the land in order to appease the god they only know as the Relief. Thousands would die in this unending battle, while those left behind went mad with grief, becoming barely living husks of their former selves. Even more depressing, this t-shirt costs $145. Now, if you want to actually learn more about this collaboration, you can learn all about it in the item's description. Microsoft took over the Las Vegas Exosphere this week to advertise like Xbox in general. Certainly, this is part of a victory lap after the Activision Blizzard purchase. The display itself featured scenes from Starfield, Forza, Cyberpunk 2077, and a particularly pointed message. Now, it's been 6.5 years since the Switch was released, and with all the rumors swirling around, eyes are on Nintendo to reveal when we see the Switch 2 on store shelves. Granted, we're going to keep calling it the Switch 2 until someone tells us it's actually Switch Tears of the Kingdom. Now, head of Nintendo of America, and absolutely not someone whose name was created by a ChatGPT prompt, Doug Bowser, dropped all sorts of tidbits in a recent interview. One thing he said was that creating a Nintendo account will allow us to communicate with our players if and when we make a transition to a new platform. I'm sorry, why are we treating the thought of a platform account as a new idea? Xbox and PlayStation has had this for years. It's crazy Microsoft wanted to buy Nintendo because this is the most Apple bullshit I've ever heard of. Also, this is coming after you've shut down the 3DS eShop, the Virtual Console, and ended your online service for older Nintendo consoles. Like, you're the obnoxious kid on the playground screaming, "It's only opposite day," until after I finish the sentence, and now it's not opposite day. Doug also was asked about the rise of unions in the industry. He stated, "We don't have unions at Nintendo of America, and part of that is driven by the employee feedback we see, which is a high degree of job satisfaction and engagement overall." I would honestly take this with a grain of salt because Bowser isn't really known for the best working conditions. And guys, that is the last week in gaming. So much has gone on. There's plenty more. We're only in the midst of this here, guys. When we come back, of course, we will have our chat with Jackie Vecchitto later about Trombone Champ. We'll have all our Trombone Champ goodness coming through. But when we come back, we're doing a top 5, taking a look at all the IPs Xbox has gained and figuring out what the top 5 unlikely franchises we want to see return are. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We're back at it. As mentioned, we have Jackie Vecchitto of Holy Wow Games and Trombone Champ coming up a little bit later. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the wake of the Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft. Now, say what you will about Activision Blizzard, Lord knows I have, and will right now. It's a shadow of its former self that once had a variety of great games but was whittled down by a misogynistic potato to become the epitome of a company afraid to take chances and sacrifices its people in order to churn out the same game over and over and over again. And I, for one, can't wait to get rid of Bobby Kotick. Let's see that Bobby Kotick countdown right now. Oh, I suppose I'm in a little countdown. So you know what? Sometimes you can't always get what you want. That's okay. Last I checked, we had 69 days, which was a nice number to have there. There goes that gag. Meanwhile, despite all this, despite the recent faults, both it and my own, Activision Blizzard does have a history of making some of the most influential games in the industry. Both Activision and Blizzard have a library of IP now lost in dust-covered tomes, unseen by human eyes, outside of physical game collectors and ROM enthusiasts. Now that they roll into Microsoft, Phil Spencer has stated that the company is not above letting their developers revive old IPs if there is passion behind it. With that in mind, here are the top 5 unlikely Activision Blizzard IPs I'd like to see return to Xbox. Number 5. Doom was a very 90s game. It's not the game on the... Hold on, it's not the game I'm talking about. But Doom is a very 90s game. Metal soundtrack, blood, guts, and violence is a selling point, shitty action movies featuring The Rock. It never went away, but the series didn't really get the love of the original until its return in 2016. This game went from being flat sprites to 4K 3D so seamlessly that it took everyone off guard while maintaining the spirit of the franchise. And I want to see the new regime bring that same love to Hexen. Now, Hexen is a first-person shooter by Raven Software that runs on the same original Doom engine, except it's a fantasy setting. Replace guns and demons with sorcery and demons. And you've got this IP that is laid dormant in Activision's mossy, untouched pool of franchises. Now, this is a layup because Phil Spencer has repeatedly name-dropped this game like a finance bro trying to get in the Standard of LA. The fruit is ripe and ready for the right dev to pick it up. All the fun of its fantasy setting, 3 selectable characters, and a hub world connecting all the levels with the gameplay of the latest Doom, and you basically have a first-person magic game that people will actually remember in a year. Number 2, or 4, counting backwards, 5, 4, here we go. The year is 1993. I was just nearly 9 years old, standing in a Blockbuster, and you know what? I'm not doing this. Anyone who talks to me for more than a second about video games will eventually hear me mention The Lost Vikings, so I'm not going to bury the lead. This game rocks, and is one of Blizzard's best pre-Warcraft IPs. It's funny, irreverent, creative. This series was one of the first to purposefully make me laugh through dialogue, and not just because I was stomping Goombas with the same sick perversion of a sick child plucking the wings off a butterfly. In the game, you control 3 Vikings, Eric, Baliog, and Olaf, after they've been plucked from their native land onto a spaceship of the evil Tomator. Switching through each one at a time, you must use your unique skills to keep them safe and get all 3 to the end of the level in order to escape. The sequel involves time travel and adds a werewolf and a dragon to the mix, and it's wild fun. Check it out, but don't do the Sega Saturn version. They updated everything to be pseudo Donkey Kong Country style graphics, and it does not work. Stick with the 16-bit versions. They've ported it to other platforms throughout the years. They've even added these three to Heroes of the Storm when Blizzard still thought that would be a thing. But we are long overdue for an update. And this game, as like a mid-tier 15 to 20 hour puzzle experience, could be an easy Game Pass win. Number 3, Pitfall. Certainly the oldest one on this list, and a way to remind yourself that Activision has been at this a long time. Pitfall is an Atari mainstay and certainly one of the most impactful games of the 1980s. A platform adventure game before we really had those classifications in gaming. You play as Pitfall Harry, an adventurer looking for lost treasure, having to swing over snakes, alligators, and, you guessed it, pitfalls in order to survive. And this was a recipe for success. It is one of the best-selling Atari games of all time, got A+ reviews when it was released, and even appeared in a cartoon, an honor only really given to characters like Mario, Hubert, and a cigarette-smoking midget pretending to be Mega Man. Now, Pitfall had subsequent games, most notably a 16-bit version called Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure, but despite its graphical fidelity, it did not have the polish of a platformer like Mario did, and therefore did not maintain the good favor of the original. Now, in 2023, Xbox has a license and potentially a direct competitor to PlayStation's Uncharted. Let's bring Pitfall back as a AAA limelight. And you'll lean into the Indiana Jones parody, have a laugh at the adventure pulp genre, and create a single-player experience that has eluded Activision Blizzard ever since the idea of games as a service crawled up Bobby Kotick's ass. That schmuck. Number 2. Developed by Blizzard and cover art by comic book legend Jim Lee, Blackthorne is an action-adventure game similar to Flashback or Prince of Persia, with one distinct difference: a motherfucking shotgun. Now, the story reads like a child playing refrigerator poetry with an issue of Heavy Metal magazine, and I mean that in the best possible way. See, for every castle and magic stone in the game, there are proximity mines and laser walls. It's insane, it's wild, and it's just there for the taking. Blizzard is aware they have it too, because they made it free on Battle.net in 2013. They released it as part of the Blizzard Arcade Collection, and even teased us with an April Fool's showing us stills from a fake sequel. And while I still pray this is more of like a Pandaren April Fool's situation, I know that I'm not that lucky. However, now that this falls into Game Pass umbrella, that luck may actually change. See, in a perfect world, Blackthorne becomes the character Duke Nukem no longer can be, and gets placed in a third-person action game in the same vein as Darksiders. Now, let me ride down long stretches of highway, shotgun in hand, firing off at flying demons while an AC/DC cover band attempts an original soundtrack. I want to tackle a giant six-legged panther creature and crash him into a castle before using his body to soak up laser turret fire. Let me fight a giant shark on a surfboard, firing off shotgun shells, hair flowing in the wind like this picture promised. And of course, number 1. So, real talk. I made this list to focus on forgotten IPs. Franchises that Activision Blizzard were unlikely to return to. And while there are many I have not mentioned here, I think it's fair to say that at least one is least likely to be revisited, is Warcraft. Now, not World of Warcraft, not Warcraft the Gathering, not whatever the fuck Warcraft Arclight Rumble is, seemingly the equivalent of a novelization of a movie based on a book. I want OG, top-down, they're destroying our city, RTS Warcraft. Let's go back to the roots and bring proper faction warfare to the series once again. Now, they did try with Warcraft 3 Reforged, but try is really stretching it. The game was just panned in the community, and quite frankly, I think they personally bombed it, so they could just say that it didn't work and people would leave them alone. Maybe I'm paranoid, but I wouldn't put it past them. Nonetheless, a return to form could be fantastic. People still love these originals, and the RTS market is not as oversaturated as it once was. Furthermore, as loved as World of Warcraft is, there are a lot of people who just aren't interested or willing to play a game with 1,000 other PC players focusing on maximizing builds and playing the same dungeon over and over again, hoping you get that rare crystal cod piece or whatever. Introduce the common person to Azeroth through the lens of a single player campaign is much an easier point of entry than just jumping into the MMO experience where the world has changed twice, other dimensions introduced, characters died, revived, polymorphed, and meanwhile you still have to kill 8 Murlocs before you can leave your small town. Look, the movie thing didn't really work, but Warcraft has all the room to continue and grow as a franchise, and that reach could go far beyond Discord servers and OnlyFans cosplayers. And if not, you know what? Sell the rights to Games Workshop. Warcraft was almost a Warhammer game back in the day. Let's go full circle, make Warcraft analog. Blizzard loves money, and there's nothing more overpriced in the miniature wargaming market anyway. And that is our top 5. I'm going to get a quick refresh of water. And folks, when we come back in just a couple of minutes, we will be joined by the co-owner of Holy Wow Games, one of the minds behind Trombone Champ, artist, graphic designer, woman amongst town, Jackie Vecchitto. Stick around. We got some good stuff coming for you. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back. We are in it. We are here. And my guest at this time is a graphic designer, illustrator, game developer, and co-owner of Holy Wow Studios. She's one of the brains behind Trombone Champ and most recently made available on the Nintendo Switch and highlighted in the latest Nintendo Direct. Please give a warm welcome to Jackie Vecchitto. Jackie, how are you?
Oh gosh, what an intro. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, of course. I'm simply here to gas you up, 1,000%. So I think my first question here is, when people find out you've worked on this game, what do they ask you about first? Hot dogs or baboons?
You know, a lot of people haven't even gotten to the baboon. It's
Really?
interesting. Yeah, which is fine. But it is right there on the main menu, which I love. That
That's
it's
what I was
just
gonna say. It's like
there
I feel
and
like that's the moment I saw that, it was like, I need to click on this. I am compelled to click on the baboons.
yeah, no, all the extra story and stuff Dan came up with because we both love a lot of the Dark Souls games, and all those have just like this really like intentionally confusing story,
Yeah.
and he thought it would be hilarious to just put it in the ridiculous trombone game. Also, just that like it would give the game like a little something extra, just something for people to stumble upon, which it's great. I love people just being like, "What the hell?"
Well, it's smart because I think of like, I mean, what the easiest analogous game one I obviously thinks of is something like a Guitar Hero or something like that, where there is a single player experience, but typically that was always a party game, right? I play it in my basement with my college friends or what have you. Um, Having this story element, not only the game itself is fun, but really encourages like, oh, I'm am going to absolutely drive. It's like harder to get sick of something like this because like you want to know, what do the baboons mean? Why do they keep popping up? What is this thing that I only have two S's and I need four for? Like what's going on here? Which is driving me insane because I'm not that good at the game, so I'm having I'm struggling, but I'm excited to
Yeah,
find out.
yeah, no, it's not easy. I mean, it even took me a while to get good at getting S's. I think on Steam, I still haven't gotten all of the achievements. But it's crazy to see how like good other people are, especially when the Switch came version came out. Like I've been playtesting that like all of the time. Both Dan and I, we've just like every day that game has been playing in our apartment. And somehow these people who touched the game for like 2 seconds are like miles better than both of us. Amazing.
That's
And
good.
again, like that's not really the point of the game, you know. It's supposed to be just you're having fun, enjoying whatever kind of music you're playing, regardless of how good you're doing.
So let's talk about, because that's what kind of the biggest thing for you guys recently. It seems, at least from an external point of view, is the addition of the Switch port. How has that process been? Because it feels like it was a little bit of time from the initial release of the game and sort of the big hype, because it did kind of have this overnight following that blew up. Uh, does it right now feel like a second resurgence now that it's on the Switch and more people are getting a chance to take a look at it?
Yeah, no, it's been wild. Like the PC version came out September of 22 last year, and the Switch version came out September of this year, which was a little coincidental, but it was pretty much when things started to wrap up for it. Um, Interestingly enough, the Switch version is much more has much a bigger Japanese audience, so it's really fun seeing, it being enjoyed like globally. It was very much more of like a thing in the States for the PC and Mac version. So it's been fun seeing that. And yeah, development for Switch basically took us like the full year. It was eye-opening like how much work it was. I knew there was going to be some stuff. Like Dan does all of the coding and I do some of the art. And he's really the main guy behind the game. I'm just his helper, but like for for a game that really took off fast, we needed like more people than just two. I so
Yeah.
there ended up being a lot of little shenanigans that needed to be taken care of. And yeah, PC development and putting that up on Steam is one. It takes time, but with Nintendo, they need just so many. There's just so much of an in-depth process that they need, and I think it was kind of a surprise to both of us. But it was very interesting, and I'm just happy that it's out now.
Yeah, I'm sure a weight off your shoulders, so to speak.
Yeah.
Is the challenge more from a like the addition of like the motion controls and coding around that, or is it more just these like standard practices? Because Nintendo has always been very, I don't want to say strict, but Nintendo has been very like they hold their stuff close. Is that even going back to the original Nintendo, having the big like Nintendo seal of approval thing, they didn't want just anyone making games for their platform. And I think there's some of that mentality still. So was that more of the issue?
It was both, yeah. Definitely, there was a lot more of a process to get things approved that we weren't aware of. They a lot of extra little details and technicalities to just be aware of, which I think actually it's kind of true of a lot of consoles. I'm very interested to know how like PlayStation and Xbox deal with it. I'm sure it's a little similar, uh, but yeah, I think launching on consoles is like a completely different animal than just PC, which is all that we've done in the past. We've just made like little web games and we've made like a little arcade game. So this was definitely like a real new thing for us, and we had to like hit the ground running.
Oh, I bet. I bet. So let's talk about, like, let's kind of go to these sort of beginnings here. You've had this isn't your first game. This has been the one that's blown up. This is the biggest one. Um, how about, like, how did Holy WoW get started? What kind of kicked off this whole thing?
I mean, it's definitely been Dan, and I've just been along for the ride. But the two of us, I feel like we have an interesting relationship. We're married, and when we were first dating, Dan was he always has tons of ideas. So he's like, let's make this, let's make that. And we did a few game jams, which was fun. A lot of typing games, which our first one came out a long time ago. Our first one was a spoof on Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, if you know that
Oh
game.
yeah.
It was kind of just like a joke on, like, it didn't teach you typing at all. It was called Icarus Bottom Teaches Typing, and it had like a bizarre story, and it was one of a game jam game, so we made this thing in like 30 days. But well, like Dan was coding and I did almost a good amount of the art, and he did the art too. But between the two of us, we got it done in like 30 days. Besides that, we did more typing games for some reason. Which is interesting. There's like a little niche out there for typing games, which really opened our eyes. There's definitely like a really small but powerful like fan base out there for typing specific games, which is really interesting.
Yeah, on one hand I find that interesting, but at the same time, like, the more I think about that, it's like, especially, people of a certain age who grew up with those early DOS, like the Beacons, the Mario Teaches,
That's what I had. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, like, there's probably absolutely a nostalgia thing. I'm shocked that people haven't, for lack of a better term, typed into that further, right? Like, and you guys currently have one that's up over at a bar we got to meet in person at, Wonderville. Well, you have one of your games up over there right now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very happy it's there, and well, it's such a cool place. It's like a arcade bar, and just so if people don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like an arcade bar that hosts like indie dev games, and a lot of us are locals, which is kind of it's a fun little niche to have.
Yeah,
So that's
arcade bar
where
meets art gallery in the way that it treats gaming as art, and it's cool to see that, and it's a place where people can try things, and that's, I mean, that give you guys credit. That is that, like, what I've discovered that you guys have come up with from both Trombone Champ and these early typing games is that uh, the two of you are absolutely willing to try stuff. You're not making a platformer. This is not a third person action adventure game. Like, you're playing with the medium. Is there drive to try to do something normal, or normal feels pejorative, and I not really what I mean here. But is there ever a want to do, like, something a little more in the lines, or are you guys in full, like, the weirder the better? Let's balls to the wall. Let's go.
definitely the weirder the better. That's
Good.
definitely one of
Right
Dan's
answer.
mantras. That like if he's just trying to do stuff that's not been done before, or do stuff in a way that it's not done before, which is really hard. I mean, we have lots of ideas of what we want to do next, and I think each of them have a little bit of a niche of something that hasn't been done before, but it's hard. And I don't know. It's exciting though because both of us were able to focus on game development full time after Trombone Champ came out. So
That's
we
great.
have the time and the means to really focus on something really stupid.
It's good. I mean, you look like a big trend. Um, and actually, I would love to get you guys take on this as someone in the industry. Like, a big trend is often developers don't get to take a chance. don't get to do that. They have to take on uh, a publisher's project. Look at, I mean, what's the big thing in the news right now is Rise of Kong, this King Kong game that like everyone's crapping on because it looks like
Yeah.
PS2 era graphics by a team that I had looked at it before. They had done something that was actually pretty well regarded and good, but was kind of niche. And so they took this on. We're forced to do it in under a year, and everyone's shitting on it, but that paid the bills. Like, as you guys as an independent studio, and with some of the success of something like Trombone Champ, uh, is there either temptation or on the other flip of the coin fear that a publisher comes in like, you guys did a great job, can you please take my franchised IP and do this in a half hour for me, like?
Oh man, I don't know. Like both of us do some freelance on the side, but I think for our next project, we really want to focus on something that's ours, just because it's so, it feels so precious to actually have the means and the time to focus on something like our own project for, without having a 9 to 5 in the way. Because
Yes,
we've been
yes.
doing, like, especially like Dan, like, he is so driven. He, like, works so much, like, after a 9 to 5. So, like, having some breathing room is going to be really nice. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, both of us do little freelance on the side, whether it's like just strictly coding or illustration or uh, just general design.
Yeah, that's good, but like you're unlike before, you can now like put more of your resources and your what you've made from Trombone Champ and its success, put that towards a next game. Is Trombone Champ done in a way that
Not
is any
quite.
game ever done? But
No, not quite. I mean, even as we speak, we've been working on more localization. Um, we really wanted to launch with a lot more languages
mm,
when the Switch version came out. But we were on such a crunch, and so we definitely needed to get Japanese in there because Nintendo had mentioned that it would make for a good contender for the Direct. And I mean, it seemed natural, it being on the Switch, having it localized in Japanese. Um, we had initially anticipated adding languages after release, but since they seemed interested in it, it kind of lit the fire under our butts to like do something about it beforehand. So we rushed to get that done,
oh
which
boy.
we were able to, and I'm really happy about. But now we're just working on adding a few more. Like we added Brazilian Portuguese a few weeks ago. We're working on getting traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese in, which should be soon. And then one more language, Korean, after. And then we'll have 10 languages.
Wow.
I'm really jazzed about it. And then, I mean, like, it's kind of a bummer that, like, I almost want to do more, but it costs money and it takes a lot of time. It's really hard to QA, especially since there's just the two of us. Like, we've outsourced it being translated, of course, because we don't know that many languages.
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
But once you implement it in the game, it's very hard to make sure that it's in there well, because stuff could be like cut off, or it could have like weird line breaks. And
Oh yeah, because the sentence structure is not going to be the same, just grammatically and like the length of letters.
yeah,
Like right, yeah.
I mean, like sometimes like it like automatically kind of truncates words and stuff. But both of us coming from sort of a graphic design background, we want it to look nice, so we try to give it a little bit of extra care. But it takes time, especially like it's so weird. We have this like document of all of the words in the game, which is like a lot. I think it's like 8,000 words, which is a lot for like a dumb trombone.
Yeah, which is a lot for a music game, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been, I've really enjoyed the localization because like localizing a comedic game, it comes with like its own little challenges. Like how do you translate
Oh.
two words, right? Or like we have something called the toot vessel and the turd vessel. Or like even the names, like Bass Master Ben is one of the baboons. Like, how do you
Yeah.
translators definitely had fun, which I'm happy about. But I'm sure it was a lot of work. I can't imagine.
God, yeah, you don't think of that, you because in your head, and at least as for a layman, in my head, it's a copy and paste thing, but it obviously is not. It obviously takes time, and like all steps of this does.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, like we originally anticipated, like taking our time with this, but intimidating knowing that like a lot of people are playing it. You try to get it done faster.
Yeah,
Um, that was kind of the crazy thing when like the PC version came out. Like Dan was not ready to like have that many people playing. Like I was trying to field like the bug reports that were coming in, and like the poor guy Dan was like trying to fix it. Well, no, I was like, oh, dude, don't stress yourself out too much. But it is intimidating, like knowing like if there is a bug in the game, like you want to fix it,
Y-
and
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
your baby. You
It's been
want it
a
to be
lot.
fixed, but at the same time, you're in that moment. A lot of people are playing your game, like, where, like, how did that? At what point in the release of the original did you start seeing that this was not just like successful but really blowing up? Like, what was there, like a turn? Did you wake up the next morning to a ton of texts or like?
Oh gosh, yeah, no, yeah, over like a course of a week, we knew for sure. We did like an open play test before the game came out on PC, and a really big streamer, Lyric, I think his name
Yeah,
was, played the game, and it got like a lot of views. People got interested, and then shortly after release, PC Gamer wrote a really nice article, which I can't believe they did. It was I think like maybe 5 days after release, and that definitely helped a lot. I think that's kind of like really what tipped it off. And then our inbox was really stupid for like a long time. I was trying to field it while doing like my 9 to 5, and it was getting like I couldn't manage it. I was like Dan's publicist. I was like his agent. I was like the bug fielder and just like the social media manager. And it was like, oh my gosh, I can't. It was like trying to juggle two jobs. So both of it. Dan quit his job first, and then I followed shortly after. Once I figured out how to make sure like we could get freaking healthcare because man, it's honestly like like the bummer that anyone has to in this country has to worry about that. I
for
don't know.
sure, for sure. But then also the battle of going through the red tape that is acquiring it. Like,
Yeah, no, it's hard. Honestly, that's like why I took a little bit longer. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing, and I'm still not really sure. But also like all the shenanigans of like setting up our company, like Dan rushed to make like an LLC. We had to get like an accountant, which sounds really boring, but it's something you had to do.
yeah,
And you try to explain it to them because like they don't know. And I'm like, it's a game, and they're like, a game, like what? They don't know what Steam is. And I'm like, it's a program. I
right.
don't know. It's just getting into all those technicalities with even like our family, like it's very hard explaining to people who aren't in the world of video games. And I get it. It sounds really stupid.
It makes sense to us, right? And that's it. It's like, I don't know. How do I explain to my mother that I spend every Monday night doing a stream to, what do we got, 6 people? I appreciate everyone being in the chat, being around. Like, yeah, it's like, you can only explain it to those who get it, and everyone else, you just, as long as my mom will say, I'm just happy you're happy. I was like,
Oh, that's
that's
nice. That's
that's
good.
the real Jewish mother response. That's fantastic. Um, so so you've gotten this success. It's rolled through. Uh, have you gotten like any interesting interactions with people that you just would not have expected
Oh
beforehand?
man, a lot of like interesting people we've come across. Especially when we did the open play test, we realized that there's like trombone, like real trombone playing like personalities on the internet, which I like. Of course there are. There's always like something on the internet. It was really exciting, like meeting them and also just like all like the various non-video game playing people who came across the game, like orchestras, were interested in the game, which is really charming. It's always a little intimidating when like real trombone players,
Oh, I could
come
only
across the game.
imagine.
Playing because like a bit of the game puts trombones in a good light, but some of it is questionable, and I don't know how people take it. And
Well, it depends on how much they like hot
yeah,
dogs.
that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, I hopefully they do because it's a big deal. I'm trying to think. It's just delightful seeing people play it. A little intimidating because like you never know if they might come across a bug or like might not like understand something like a certain control scheme, and you're like, oh God, it's so
Yeah.
hard
Oh
watching.
no.
But no, ultimately it's great. I mean, especially now that the game is localized in other languages, I love watching it in like other languages and people like enjoying it in like their native language. I wish we could have had those in sooner. We're also working to get that in the PC version, which is like a whole other thing, but
Oh boy.
soon.
You had mentioned Xbox and PlayStation as well. Is that very much on your roadmap, or is just kind of like maybe someday?
Xbox would probably be a little impossible just because their controllers don't have any motion whatsoever.
Mm,
And playing with a joystick just, it's not fun. It's possible, and we do have it as like a function in the Switch version as an option, but like it's not a good time. I don't think I'd want to spend the time. PlayStation's a possibility. It's on our like maybe list.
okay.
Like both of us have just been so surrounded by the game and trombones that we've gone a little insane. And I think once we get what we want done with the Switch version, maybe like some sanity might come back to us, and we might be able to iron out exactly what we want to do.
Right. You've got a big you've still got a big task with these localizations going on that it's kind of hard to see past that.
Yeah, yeah. We've also been trying to like add a few songs with each new localization, adding because it's just nice to add a few more songs. And we promised it in the beginning. Um, it's just nice. Like, there's always more public domain songs out there for us to tap into. We did try to like work with some music labels, but it's really hard, even just communicating with them. I imagine the cost is going to be stupid, but even just communicating with some of these labels is really it's a slow process, and ultimately, I don't. It's too much. So public domain songs and songs made by Dan are go-to.
That's I mean honestly there's a bit of a from a business end a bit of a brilliance in like you've come up with something where you can literally use songs with no worry in public domain. That's great. Um, do you still having trouble with the music labels now that this game has seen some more success, or it's just kind of been the same regardless?
We're just like at a point where we know it's going to be too much of a battle. There is kind of a hope that maybe like something might materialize and maybe we could do like a big DLC later
Right.
on. Our hope of hopes was always to have like Nintendo music in the game when Switch came out, but
Ooh.
apparently that's very, very hard to get. And but yeah, who knows? It's not like a complete impossibility. It's just a very, very, very big impossibility.
Do you have
But
like
who
a
knows?
do you have like a pie in the sky wish list? Like can you name a song or two that you would love to see in the game?
Oh, me personally, man, a lot of Dragon Ball Z music. A lot of it. A lot of, especially the Japanese ones, are so killer. Even some of the American ones. I know some people aren't crazy about them, but yeah, I would love all of them.
That'd be
All the Dragon
amazing.
Ball Z songs.
Just a
Yeah.
full Dragon Ball Z pack. Those same
Hmm.
animated characters with just the yellow hair. I could go in Super
Yep.
Saiyan.
Oh man.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that would be honestly my dream, which has been my dream because basically, like, I've just been like dreaming of Trombone Champ for the past like year. For a while, I was keeping like a dream record of like how frequent certain things came up in like my dreams, and like slowly after the release of the PC game, like trombones just like started to take that number one spot on the list. I'm like, oh, I'm going insane
Oh
over here.
no. Oh no. Now,
No, no, it's fine. They have done me well, so
that's true. Have you since learned to play a trombone?
we have a lot of trombones now. I Dan is making a harder effort to try it out, but I've tried. We have a few P-bones, if you know of those. They're like a plastic trombone. I guess
Oh,
they're
interesting.
mainly for like students because they're very cheap. Well, cheap for a musical instrument. I think
Yeah.
it's like 150 US dollars, maybe
Okay.
close to 200, which I mean, it's also pretty sturdy. You could drop this thing and it's just plastic and like it's pretty good.
Right.
Um,
Great for high school
and I
students who
love
are
them.
getting beat up on their way to band practice. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but they even come in like different colors and stuff. They're fun. So we have a couple of those. We also have a very long trombone. It's like 11 and a half feet long that some orchestra fabricated.
Oh wow.
And it's metal. It's like a real trombone that they like just put like an extra two slides on. It barely fits in our apartment. It's real, like our apartment's real small, so
Oh, that's amazing.
we have that, which does play. We have played it. But yeah, ironically, neither of us really play the trombone. Dan plays a ton of instruments. He plays like the guitar and saxophone, and he's got like a ton of instruments in this apartment. It's wild. He plays keyboard and I played the violin for a little bit, and I've touched the bass guitar a little bit, but maybe eventually we'll learn the trombone uh,
Add to the
stuff
repertoire.
later.
So
Yeah.
you've mentioned that Dan does a lot of the music. A lot of there's a lot of the music that's not he's written a lot of it himself. Um, for both of you guys, like what goes into not just building the song, but like building note placement? Like
Oh yeah.
is it just as simple as just like you're going off of the like if I'm just going off the feeling of like yeah, or is there more of a science to it?
He started with a different system when the game first came out, but I know that he came across an easier way of coming across like implementing the notes. It's No, he would answer that question better than me, but it is very interesting. It is still very much a process of like just like putting in each of those at a time. He builds these songs in Reason, which is a musical program,
Hmm.
and then that's like the background track. And then there's a way to sort of use MIDI to kind of like get like vague placements, which has helped him out. Which I mean, at least it's something. It still takes a long time
I
to
can
get it right.
especially
Yeah.
with the number. Like, how many songs do you guys have in there now?
It's I think it's over 50 now. The game launched with I think 48, and now we're maybe like 52. But the Switch version came out with 48, and now we're at 52. That was the crazy thing when PC version came out. I think we only had like 20 songs.
Yeah,
Which
I
isn't,
think.
I mean, it's okay, but it's not a lot for like a game that had, a following. So poor Dan was like, "Oh shit,
Oh no,
I get more in
the
here."
pressure hit, and he had to jump to it.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Gosh, it was a lot. But I'm happy to say that we're over 50. It feels good.
That's a good
I
number to have.
know.
And I mean, honestly, enough in there to keep busy, especially with everything to unlock and discover that you guys have put in there. Uh, you guys have talked a bit, I know, in other pieces about the importance of comedy and just the
Mm.
importance of comedy in gaming and the comedy in this game. And obviously, like you described, doing sort of the Mavis Speaking parody as well. Uh, talk to me a little bit more about that. Like, what were you guys' comedy influences for this? Like, are there any things particularly that stand out as far as like your guys' tastes or what vibe you're hoping to go for here? And like, why do you think that like it's such an untapped, I guess, art genre in the world of gaming?
I think like not to toot our own horn too much, but I think what Trombone Champ does well with comedy is that it's not it's not like forcing the comedy at you. I mean, it is sometimes with the cards and like the baboons and stuff, but like when playing, like the comedy is you are making the funny stuff, you know. So it feels more of like like you're involved in it, like and feels less like that it's like forced or anything. Hopefully, I mean that's the hope.
I think you're doing a good job with it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, I mean, Dan's always been like the funny one, but some of our like favorite comedies are like Kids in the Hall, if you know them.
Yes, absolutely.
I think right before Dan launched the or pressed the button on like launching the PC version, we kept referencing one of their skits called like letting the monkeys loose. It's you have to look at it. It's great.
I haven't watched a lot of I've watched the newer one, but I've been watching the older ones in such a long time.
Oh
But
gosh,
like,
I know there's so many too. Like it's
oh yeah.
even I've watched all of them like a bunch, but even I forget. I mean, like there's a ridiculous amount, which is great. Uh, no, and we were talking about letting the monkeys loose. Yeah, do it eventually. I'm trying to think. We love Danger Five, if you know that
Yes.
show. A little bit of
Oh,
a niche
that
from
is.
Australia.
I discovered that recently. That show is wild.
Oh my.
And one of those shows that I'm kind of angry I didn't come up with first because it's so good. But like, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. I love those guys. I mean, I don't know if really any of that is in the game. I mean, a lot of it is like a parody, you know, on Dark Souls and stuff, which is funny to say about a music game, but that's where some of that comes from.
No, it's such a great idea, and honestly, I mean, I loved Elden Ring. I've been a fan of many of the Soulsborne games like Hollow Knight and stuff out there. But it's a genre that takes itself too fucking seriously. like,
I
I
know.
made my joke in the show earlier, just like that's what they all feel like, and it's just kind of one of those things. It's just like, okay, lighten up a little bit. Like, yeah, can you do this? There's another game that's coming out soon. Oh God, I'll remember it's about a hermit crab. It's a Soulsborne game, but you're a hermit crab and you're finding a new shell every time, and it's much cuter and much
Awesome.
brighter. It's still punishing gameplay, but like, it's cool when someone can take one concept and just go to the outfield, like go nuts with it. Like that's what you like to see. And so and you guys not only did that, but did that with quite literal flying colors for how bright this game is. Like, yeah, 1000%.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, no, it's wild that people like this game. Like, I both of us had no idea. I mean, like a stupid like Philly trombone game. We had no idea. Uh, we're not prepared for the amount of people playing it for sure.
um, I started this conversation with you when we met in person at Wonderville. I want to continue it here, but
Sure.
VR and
Ah, yeah.
VR with something like this. Like, is that because that's closer to the motion control of the Switch we'd expect than say the PS5 and the Xbox? Uh, is VR something you guys have talked about? Is that something you see as a possibility? And if so, would you implement it the same way, or would it be notes coming at the person? Would it be first person in that way?
No, that's a really good question. VR is definitely on our to-do list, but how exactly we want to do it is it's going to be still a road to cross. But I do love it. We recently got Quest 2, Meta Quest 2 headsets, two of them,
Yeah.
last year, and like I was actually pretty with it. I was always kind of poo-pooing VR because first of all, it's really expensive.
Oh yeah, no,
Just to
I
like get
shat
the
on it. I
stuff.
shat on it completely until I got one, like 1,000%. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world, and then I played Beat Saber once and was fully converted.
Yeah,
Like I get it.
Yeah, I got it last year during the winter time, which actually like I got a few games that really have you like moving around. I'm like, oh, this is actually like a good, wintertime activity.
Yeah.
I would definitely be more into like I used to love DDR, but obviously in an apartment, I'm gonna spare my neighbors and not,
1000%,
DDR.
absolutely. DDR is not
But
a New York City game. Like,
no, no, unfortunately. But VR is a little bit. It's definitely feasible. Called Pistol Whip, which is almost a music game.
yeah.
It has you shooting like in time with stuff. Both Jan and I really love that one. You could get like actually like tired out and like sore from that game.
Oh yeah, I definitely got sweaty and like a little bit of, oh, maybe I should have had breakfast before playing when,
Yeah, yeah.
when I first did it.
No, there was a time when like both of us were playing it so much that like the following day we're like, oh shit, we need a break, or at least I do. Like, and a lot of effort. But yeah, all that said, we'd love to have it. People have already like modded it into it, and it seems like so much like the game into VR, and it seems like so much fun. So we definitely want to pursue that somehow.
Let's touch. That's a good transition. Let's talk about the modding community a little bit because people
Oh
were
man.
modding songs themselves into the game. What was it like seeing that people are getting so passionate that they were adding to it with like music they found that they wanted to play? Like, is that what is that experience like to see? And do you are you close enough to it that you can watch it and be like, that's not the note placement I would have done, or or is it just like you're just along for the ride?
I mean, we're definitely along for the ride. It's incredible what the modding community has done. It's it, people. I mean, obviously, like people love that about the game, and so many people have dedicated like a lot of time and effort into it, which is really just humbling and like an honor that they care so much.
Yeah,
But
for
it is
sure.
wild. Like it's hard on our end because we really can't touch it, and people email us with like problems with their mods in the game, and we're like, it legally, like we actually can't help you there, and like I'm sorry.
But keep it up. Like,
Yeah. No, it's been a difficult line to, dance around. But I'm happy that they're there. It's crazy. It's wild.
that's great. Um, I'm gonna let you go in a little bit. Before I do, I got through the final question here is what's next for Holy Wow? Like you've talked a little bit about what's next for Trombone Champ, and you guys are working on this localization. You've got some things here and there, but you've briefly mentioned some ideas. Like, what are you guys feeling now that you are, at least from this game, a little on the solvent side and have a little more of the freedom of your day to day life? What are you looking to next for inspiration? Anything you can tell us that's not feeling like you're spoiling anything. And,
Yeah,
and
no,
if I'm
we
getting
have.
an exclusive, that's even better. But I fully understand that doesn't have to be the case.
I mean, we're really just mulling around at this point. We have like four or five or even more ideas, but it's hard to like really nail something down. The most boring answer is maybe revamping one of our older games, our two-player typing game, which currently the computer only recognizes both keyboards as one keyboard, which is kind of it's kind of a whole technical thing, but like it limits like what we could do with the game. But Dan's figured out a way of like distinguishing the keyboards, so we can do a lot more with that now, which is very exciting. But also like I don't know, we have so many other like bigger ideas. Um, it's tough. Just because they're just so like all over the place. Like personally, I would love to work on something a little bit of a small scope, like maybe a similar scope of Trombone Champ, but we do have some ideas that are like really big, which would mean like maybe hiring people, which is like a whole animal. Because right now it's just the two of us.
Right, right.
Um, it's yeah, I don't know. My heart of hearts has always wanted to do a point and click adventure, but like I know nobody buys those anymore, and
Is
I
that
don't
true?
know.
Because we just had Secret of Monkey Island. I think that did pretty
True.
well.
That's
And
true.
what was it, Thimbleweed Park? I think it was pretty successful. I mean,
There's been a handful that have come out. I don't remember. There's been a few that got awards last year even. So I guess it's not completely untrue, but I feel
yeah.
like you have to be really good at organizing all of that. But I don't know. Maybe we have like one idea that might be point and click y. Maybe we could kind of get that out. Like it's a smaller scope that we could wrap up. That's the thing with any project. It's very good to have a projection of like knowing you can start it and finish it, which is really, it sounds basic, but like that's the most important part.
I mean, yeah, a game, a game is not a game until it's finished. Otherwise, it's just a project. And like, yeah, like in the end, the point is to have a finished thing and not just you know, unless you're a AAA studio, in which case you push out an unfinished thing and they'll work on it for 4 years before they forget about it. So, like, ideally, you want to come out with a finished project.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's tough. But again, I'm just jazzed to like actually have the time for it. Um, Also, maybe like we could take some time to like get our sanity back. Like we have not taken a vacation since 2019,
Yeah.
and like it'd be nice to go somewhere, clear our heads, and then maybe come up with something after that. We'll see.
I do have a comment here in the chat from Holy Wow Studios, saying talk about Himbo House. What can you tell me about Himbo House?
It's funny. I mean, Dan's like in the room, like right behind me. Okay,
Good
noted. He
call.
wants to talk about Himbo House. Yeah. Oh gosh, the type of game is escaping me. Where it's video, um, like Night Trap, if you know that
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. Yeah, like a full motion video kind of style.
Yeah, we would love to do. Uh, we've been talking about Himbo House for like.
I mean,
Doesn't.
name and concept alone, you've got me on board already. Yeah, let's. I'm not ending this conversation. Let's get into this. Himbo House, a a full motion video, similar to Night Trap. Like I'm
Yeah, so
elaborate.
yeah, no, Night Trap is great, and I feel like it's on Switch. It's really
Yeah.
and Steam. You could get it really easy. It's like cheap. Uh, Something like that, but just like a house full of himbos. And we haven't quite nailed down like what, fate befalls them, but like you have to either protect them or trap them or do something to them. Probably trying to avoid traps to not be too close to Night Trap. Um, but also just interesting to think of like who the himbos would be, and we do live in New York City, so like there's like a lot of like theater groups and stuff, and
Oh,
like maybe a lot
there
of
is an overabundance of
actors.
himbos in New York City. Absolutely. They're
Um,
like rats and cockroaches. The city's crawling with them.
yeah. I mean, going back to like Danger Five, Sean James Murphy, who's one of the characters, lives in New York City, and I would love for him to be
Oh
one.
wow.
It should be a dream of dreams, but um, it, yeah, it'd be crazy because like that would be opening a lot of, or I don't know, it would be like wearing a lot more hats than both of us are used to. Like working with actors, I've never done that. Coming up with a script for a game like Night Trap seems like a monumental task. It does seem fun, but at the same time, like I almost don't know like where to begin. Like I would almost want to make like a like a version that's all like just like stick figures that like I animate and then hand that off to like a film group to like film. Just because like I feel like if I gave them a script or anything else, like I would forget something or I don't know, it feels like a lot of moving parts. Like with Night Trap, all of the bad guys are just like these guys and like they look like trash bags.
Oh
So
yeah.
like when one of them gets caught, you kind of don't notice that that particular one got caught, because there's other guys in trash bags just mulling around, which is really the genius of that game. Like
They built it in a
the
way that
player,
they could cover their ass.
yeah, it's kind of yeah, it would be a lot of work. It does seem like I don't know. The name is so funny. Himbo House. I mean, like we've played a lot of Night Trap, so this kind of like really scratches an itch for both of us. Again, this would be like a big project. So like I don't know if this would be our next or maybe like a project that like we might have ongoing while we work on other things. I don't know. That's
I think
Himbo
I
House.
think it's possible, and you're absolutely right. There are a number of black box theater troops that are probably dying to try something this wild. So I'd say never. Himbo House, 2024, maybe 2025 on the horizon. Love to see it. Love to have you guys back on here to talk about it when it's ready to roll.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. It was great talking with you.
Oh, likewise. No, thanks for having me. This is so fun.
Good.
It's a
And
great show.
before I let you go, just tell people where can people find you and Holy Wow and like where can how all the
Yeah.
promotional stuff. Your time to shine.
I mean, like we mostly go by Holy Wow Studios on all of our socials. I mean, I think all of the trombone champs out there have been like taken by fans, which is fine. But we also just can't manage like both. It's too much. Yeah, so Holy Wow Studios around, and trombonechamp.com if you need like just the basic, bread and butter stuff. Yeah. There's news and stuff on that site too. If you don't like social media at all, you could just go right to the website.
And if you don't like social media, we fully understand why and get it. Uh,
Yeah.
in this day and age.
It's a mess. Yeah. It's
All right.
wild.
Well, thank you so much, guys. For everyone else, guys, we will be right back. I'm going to play it. So if you haven't seen Trombone Champ, you
Great.
can watch someone struggle their way through it in just a little bit. Stay tuned. There we go. I get my volume back. Hopefully everyone can hear me. All right, guys. One more time. That was great. It was awesome having Jackie on the show. It's always cool to get someone who actually like makes the games, their input, as someone who only plays them. It's a great insight for me to get a look into that kind of stuff. Hopefully it means a lot to you guys as well. Hopefully get more guests like that coming through because it's always fun to have that. But in the meantime, I made a promise. I said I was going to play some Trombone Champ, and dagnabbit, I'm going to play some Trombone Champ. So here we go. Let's get into the gameplay. Throw myself over here. Turn the game up. Sorry, guys. I realized the volume is not set up correctly. Here we go. Now, gameplay in. Beautiful. Okay. So we're going to go quickly into here. I want to look at my collection first and foremost. Load this up. And I'll say right now, guys, I think I'm having a bit of a problem. It sounds like my capture card's a little on the... my capture card's being a little on the, like, choppy side. You guys hear that on your end, too? Hopefully not. But I'm seeing what we have here. Okay. Let's get back out. Let's get right into some gameplay. Single player. Playing it, we got my waggle. Here, ready to roll. I want to make sure I stay close to the mic. Figure out how to do this so I don't like hit this every time. Alright, so we got some I haven't played yet. But I want to start relatively easy. I don't want to jump into one of the hard ones. Let's try this. Let's start with Long Tail Limbo. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Highest note. Oh, I didn't read that fast enough. This is already very trippy. I'm messing this up already. There we go. There we go. I'm not doing great. Ooh. There. Okay, not bad. Not bad. That was good. That was good. Max. Oh, I'm not even hitting that. There we go. There we go. There we go. Woo! I assume nasty means how good I am at this. Oh, that last one hit me by surprise. Did not expect that. A B. B's not perfect, not as great as I'd like it to be, but it's still a B, and that's something. So let's track select. Let's get into something else. I mean, yeah. Chopsticks? I feel like I gotta do chopsticks. Absolutely. It's a classic. Let's go, baby. Let's go. World record for the most trombones owned is held by Mike Brass of Omaha, Nebraska. He owns 2 trombones. That was great. That was really good. not. I had to reformat a little bit. Ooh, that was not pretty. That was not pretty. I deserve a C on that. I deserve a C on that. Guys, I'm trying to do this. I'm going to do something real fast. I'm going to back out for a second. I think for some reason I'm going to re-engage my game capture because it is feeling a little choppy for me, and that's not fun. I'm going from my Switch to an Elgato. And I think for some reason the Elgato is struggling a little bit. So now bear with me as I try to get this thing to connect. You're going to see nothing for a second. All right, back here, gameplay. There we go. And now it's actually looking clean too. So, yeah, I just had to restart that. That explains so much more. Okay. So I'm going to try that again because I feel like that's what was messing me up. It's possible it wasn't, but I feel like that was messing me up. So I'm going to try that now that I'm fully connected in here. And we will make this right. Because chopsticks is chopsticks. I should be able to do chopsticks. I should be able to do chopsticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, Ooh, that was starting to hurt a little bit. Did I do better? Did I do better? All right, not by much, so take that for what it is. Okay. Fine. I'll take my C. Let's do a little Mars. Oh. Was this used in oh god, I'm blanking on it now, but oh, the Henchmen. Venture Brothers. It was using that. When the henchmen come back together and they get in the car and they're just bum ba da bum ba da. Here we go. How does a complicated I biffed that. Yeah, I love this. This is the song that plays whenever I get out of the shower. Yes. That was basically the song, as everyone knows it. Ugh. No S for me. No S for me. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Nobody's perfect. Least of all me. Oh, that was good. I thought I did really well on that though. That one got it. Flight of the Bumblebee. I love this. Here we go. A little Silent Night. Yes, please. As a Jew, I love Christmas songs. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round your virgin mother and child, he infant tender and mild, sweet, sweet heavenly sleep, sweet heavenly sleep. Sweet, sweet. I don't even know the words. Now I'm just. Alright. Singing is messing me up. This is madness. I could not get the timing on that for the life of me. For the life of me. The fact that I got a B is insane. Oh, I thought I was doing so well there. What do we got? What can I get an S on? Let me try this. I was able to get an S on O Canada. Let me try to get an S on Danny Boy. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling. Damn it. See, I think I would have been better if I had like not got out of sync and my arm was like almost slapping the floor trying to do that. Oh my god. Ah. I love it. I love it. This is truly the best way to play this game. Like, bar none. I'm sure it feels different. God, part of me wants to try that again. Why was Old McDonald so hard? Oop. There we go. Controller got disconnected. Let's do this. St. John's Trombonery. And not a single tromboner joke at all this entire episode. I think I did a good job. I think I did. I love the music. Ooh, yeah. There we go. Got that almost. Woohoo! Yeah. How we do? 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 Nah. I'm stuck in like B plus limbo. All right. Stream's been on for nearly 2 hours, guys. We're gonna do one more. Yeah, we're gonna go. I want to go nuts. I want to get nuts. What's this? Yeah, I think I gotta do that. Well, you know what? No, I know what I want to do. I've already played it, but I want to play it again. I love that. Oh, no, yeah. I am happy because I'm absolutely playing a ska song. I'm going back to my roots. Let's get into it, baby. Let's get into it. And watch me really struggle with this one. Ooh. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ha, ha, brah. I'm just kind of clicking madly, I won't lie. Woo! Brap. Oh. I how'd I do? How'd I do? How'd I do? How'd I do? Yeah. Ah, that sounds right. That sounds right, guys. Let's take a look at our. We've earned toots, and you gotta spend toots to make toots. So we're gonna do just that. Let's get to our collection. So let's go ahead. We're gonna. I want a sack. Look at this. Oh, I get 10 packs. A 10-pack sack. Oh, I hit the wrong hit the wrong button twice. Guys, here we go. We're gonna do a ton of cards. Oh, that's why I'm hitting the wrong button, because it goes to cancel. There we go. Let's do this. Who we got? Music. Max Tundra. All right. We know he's produced some stuff. The Limbo. Purchase immediately. Great. Richard Strauss. Sousa. Another from the sousaphone. Who we got? Rachmaninoff. Brass. I know I have Bobby. I know that's a repeat. Okay. See, there's a little bit of history in this game. Glissando. Melba. This would be here. The baboon of instruments. I love that. Rachmaninoff. Sergei got Algray. I think I have. So I got a couple repeats here. Mouthpiece. Dick Slide Hide. All right. I don't even know what sack number I'm on now. I've had so many of these. Baboon. All right, so I'm definitely repeating. But I'm hopefully I'm close to like a full pack. Mozart Music Storm? I love that. I love that art. Alright, we're going to keep going through. They call out the trumpet so hard in this. I love it. That's brilliant. I love that. The bass clef. I'm still missing some. All right, well, I think I got where are my darks? I got a couple of dark spots here. Okay. Alright, I'm not going to do that. I am going to, however... no, I do need to build up for this, right? How many turrets do I need to build this? Oh, I can build it now. So I'm going to use my turret... So I destroy the card to make turrets. Use turrets by cards I don't have. In Cloud Dempsey. So now I'm going to light this candle down the corner here. See, so I can assist the baboons. Oh, this is new. It's been so long locked in the candle that I've forgotten his name. A legendary tromboner would one day find me. Could that be you? I love this. And I just figured this out by just like slapping the R button a bunch. Come on. Oh, I'm slowing down. I can't slow down. Can't slow down. Come on. My wrist. Oh. You played a video game a lot and unlocked a thing, as never have truer words been spoken. And of course, the baboon room. I need one more S. Oh, that's heartbreaking. None of my other keys, none of my buttons do anything. I'm just trying this one more thing. Improv. What's the improv? Thought I could get Mario. Was not successful, guys. We're gonna call that a wrap here. I'm going to come back to our main camera, bring our game down, bring our music up. What a blast! What a blast that we had today. Sorry, I'm trying to get all my stuff organized here. But yeah, this was fun. Gonna say one more time. What a great show. Thanks everyone who sat down and hung out with me tonight watching this wonderful thing we put together. Special thanks to Jackie Vecchitto especially, and Dan as well, the whole Holy Wow Studios team, who I literally just named, to basically for making such a great game, for making Trombone Champ, for Jackie sitting down and talking with me. That means a lot. It's when I first started this show, I did not think I'd be so soon talking to people I've not met before, and now I'm having wonderful conversations with new friends, and it's fantastic. If this is your first time watching and you are unaware, this is my weekly talk show. We do this live every Monday night here in the Kaiju Lounge, youtube.com/BossMonsterKaiju. You can find me all over the internet at Boss Monster Kaiju, everywhere but Twitter, where it's Boss Monsta Kaiju. I also stream on Twitch every Thursday, or at least I try to. I don't know when I'm going to stream this week, but hopefully it'll be something fun. And then, of course, I host the world's greatest gamer tournament here in New York City at bars all over. We have one happening at Wonderville, November 7th, 8 p.m. And then another one followed through on the 14th of November at OS New York, smack in the middle of the city. If you're in the New York area, come out. It's a fun time. $5 to enter, $100 to win. Every round's a different game. We played Trombone Champ at the last one, and it was a wildly close game. It's insane how much fun these things are. You guys should absolutely come and check it out. Head over to YouTube www.thekaijulounge.com for more information there. Be sure to like and subscribe while you're here. And until next time, stay cool, stay hip, stay heavy. Good night, folks.